Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 257.
Pretty exciting Oscar wrap-up.
Oscar wrap-up, our yearly Oscar wrap-up. Well, first, I just want to thank everyone that came out to see me headline at the Improv at Harrah's in Las Vegas. Fun week of shows, had a blast. Gary Brightwell, who's been on the show, it was cool doing shows with him, and saw some other comics who worked in town there, like Shane Matosh was working in town. Dave Williamson was at the other club. So it was a lot of fun. It was always fun there. Where
do you want to begin?
Let's go with overall impressions of the show before we get into specific winners.
Okay, let's begin with, I will say, one of my favorite moments was on the red carpet before the show when Melanie Griffith was arguing with her daughter, Dakota Johnson, about how she's not going to see her in Shades of Grey, and then she ended up like a spoiled, petulant child. And it's like, it's a movie. Why you can't even see my movie? Like, oh my God.
What parent wants to watch their daughter, in these violent sex scenes?
What was funny is somebody tweeted, is like, maybe your mother doesn't want to watch you get torture banged.
I was just like, there's no way you're that.
No.
How could you not? It was just, what a weird.
Yeah, boy.
Ugh.
I can imagine how high maintenance she is.
Oh, it makes me not want to see that movie even more.
Yeah.
So I don't know if a spoiler up's coming, you guys.
You have to. There's so much to talk about in that movie. But overall, I have to say, Neil Patrick Harris did not do a good job. However, I don't put all the blame on him. I don't. It really looked like they had not hired writers this year for the show. Like, certainly not joke writers.
Right.
Or he was just making it up as he went along, or he wrote his own jokes, something where, like, everything fell flat.
Everything fell flat.
It was weird, but, like, okay, well, that's a joke that somebody would make if they're not a joke writer. Or they're not a comedian.
It was, and then, not only were the jokes not landing, but then he, like, I'm sorry, the Crisis Hotline winner, those two women who won for the best documentary short subject, Crisis Hotline. She's talking about, she had that dress with the furry puffy balls on it or whatever.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So she's talking about,
that she got from Whoville?
Yeah. Well, she's talking about, my son committed suicide.
Yeah, really serious stuff. Really serious stuff.
My son committed suicide, and, reach out, there's help for you. And then he goes, boy, it took a lot of balls to wear that dress.
It wasn't even...
Okay, on its own, that's a fine joke.
Right.
But right after that, it led me to believe, like, either he's just an idiot, or he's just not paying attention. He's back off stage, and then Bruce Valanche, or one of those morons, is
just not paying attention.
It's just like, oh, here's a great joke about the dress, like, haha, balls. And it's just like, and Twitter, like, exploded, like, what are you doing? And it was, I couldn't believe it. And then I wrote 5:30 p.m. is the last time America was excited about him hosting the Oscars. And I saw somebody else tweet, America just collectively fell out of love with
NPH.
Yeah, and then he kept saying, and then, like, people would sing and he'd go, great song. And it just sounded like disingenuous.
Well, I will say that opening number I thought was pretty good.
Sure.
I thought that opening musical number was good. But then it was like, okay, well then you forgot to write the rest of the show. Like, there was nothing, and it was so long. It was way too long. I know it's long every year, but it felt a little longer this year.
Time-wise, it wasn't any longer than any of the last previous, like, 6 or 7.
Really?
Yeah. It just felt, they're always about 3.5 hours, 3 hours, 3:40, and it just was miserable.
It felt longer
because he
couldn't keep it moving.
Every time he came back on stage, like, oh, and that bit where he didn't have any clothes, I was like, I tweeted, he wrote that.
Yeah, of course.
I want to walk around without my shirt on.
I think I put, brave and unnecessary.
Oh, God. It was just like, and he's acting like, oh, God, this is so embarrassing. This perfect Holly.
I'll tell you, and I like Neil Patrick Harris, too.
So do I. Prior to this.
Yeah, I was really disappointed with his performance. And I'll tell you, if this was a more structured show, if he had a team of writers writing jokes, he was delivering the jokes, occasionally doing an ad-lib, I thought he would have done a fine job. It really felt like there was either no jokes, He went off script. They had no joke writers. Like you know what? It felt like it just felt sloppy.
Yeah.
Like it was thrown together. Like it didn't really feel like it was rehearsed. It was, here's a great example is when he was doing his quote crowd work. Like, oh, are you a seat filler? And when he gets to Steve Carell is a comedian. He grabbed the joke and ran with it. And all of a sudden, you see the difference between a seasoned comedian than a
sitcom actor.
A sitcom actor, yeah.
He's not a comic. Neil Patrick Harris is not a comedian.
Or a stage performer.
Exactly.
Or a magician. And I'm tweeting that too. He is actually a magician. He's like, he can get you into the magic castle. Like he's, and I knew
Who cares?
I knew that dumb thing he was going to do at the end. I knew that, he's going to do a magic trick at the end because he has like this great love of magic. So, I don't think he'll be asked back. I don't see it happening. I really felt like it was the kind of thing where it was a misfire, but it had the potential to be okay. Like it was like when you got James Franco, there's no way you were going to make that good. There's no way that was going to be compelling, no matter how many writers you have in the room. But with Neil Patrick Harris, who is a seasoned performer and a seasoned sitcom actor, he can deliver lines.
Yeah.
If you had a structured show with specific lines to give him, I think he would have actually done okay. I think something behind the scenes happened and it got sloppy and it went off the rails. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt you're like, he started wanting to write his own stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like starting to believe his own hype that he's this genius comedian. It's like, no, you're a funny comedic performer.
Yes.
A professional comic can write, Jon Stewart and these guys can write.
Where are you going to find monologue writers in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I know. That must be hard to find.
Yeah, well, there aren't any late night talk shows or anything. How are you going to find joke writers?
But it's just, you're just sitting there going, wow, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, just book them for next year because look at the Golden Globes. They destroyed. They were so funny. And they were just like, every joke was so rock solid. Some of the jokes are written by them, but the team of writers that they brought. They brought solid writers.
And it wasn't even a matter of like, oh, well, he took a chance. No, it was sloppy.
It was boring.
There was
just
nothing.
Like
there were no chances.
Yeah, if he was like, all right, let's,
Like if he pulled a Letterman and just went really way off, like, book and script and just kind of made it like his own show, I'd actually be more forgiving of that than just some kind of sloppy half measure. Yeah. That is what he did.
I know. I couldn't. I mean, he landed one little joke towards the end, and I was just like,
that's a shame.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it is, because I think that was kind of where like I said, you had the potential, and it went off course. So let's get into the winners and the losers. Performance by an actor in a supporting role. J.K. Simmons in Whiplash beat Mark Ruffalo, Edward Norton, Ethan Hawke, and Robert Duvall. He deserved it. I really think so.
The only other guy, I mean, Ethan Hawke, Edward Norton did really good jobs. Robert Duvall had no business. I mean, he's a fine actor, but the judge, he has no business being there. He
looked a little bored actually at the awards too.
Yeah, he just
you know what's interesting?
That shows you marketing. How a marketing campaign is crucial because the judge never should have seen the light of day.
Yeah, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I do want to make the one point here is that sometimes it's a little nebulous as to whether an actor is supporting or the lead. Like, this is a good example of if you counted the screen time that each him and Miles Teller were actually on screen, it was probably pretty close. What it boils down to is whose story is it, and ultimately it's Miles Teller's story. So he's the lead.
But it's also smart because it could also be a strategy thing, because if you submit him as best leading actor, that is a really tough field.
Very true. Very true. You have a better chance.
At supporting.
That's a good point.
And and here's a great reason why. Mark Ruffalo, who I thought did an amazing job, he's just not in Foxcatcher as much as J.K. Simmons is in. He basically shares the movie with Miles Teller.
Correct.
So Mark Ruffalo does such a good job, but he's in maybe 35% of the film, where J.K. Simmons is in everything, and every scene J.K. Simmons is in, he did deserve it. Every scene he's in is just like lightning, you know. And it's really, and he gave a great speech.
He did.
You know, thank your mom and dad.
Yeah.
Call your mom and dad. Like, that was really sweet.
You know what I really liked about that movie? It made me uncomfortable. Like, it made me uncomfortable as a character study. Like, from this abusive teacher to also the student who's can kind of be an asshole too. Like,
yeah, the student's an asshole and is okay with the abuse.
Yeah. So you have a lot of stuff going on, and it was a really interesting character study. And it was like, well, should I be rooting for him to, should I be going through this crucible or should I not be? Like, it made it very vague as to where you should root for, if anything, in this film. And like I said, it made me kind of uncomfortable watching this abusive teacher and a student that pretty much, he didn't have to go back to that show.
No.
Yeah, he didn't, like you said, basically stood for it.
Yeah.
So now let's go into costume design. I really wanted to see Grand Budapest Hotel win some of these awards because, like I said, all these other movies are either period or fantasy, but Budapest had to do both and kind of thread the needle between this fantastic world that it created, but it was also historical.
Right.
So I really, I was happy to see it win these awards. Makeup and hairstyling, I would have liked to have seen Guardians of the Galaxy, but Grand Budapest is a good second choice.
And Grand Budapest cleaned up in all these categories.
It sure did.
It won best makeup. It won, what were the other ones it won? It won production design.
Yes, which I really felt it deserved.
Which it deserved too. Yeah. I mean, then it won music. It won, a cheap music written original score, basically. It won that. And then did it win anything else? But still, that was what, 4? I mean, It won 4.
It's enough for a marketing campaign.
And it deserved every single one of those awards it got because it was typical Wes Anderson, like we talked about, very unique vision, very unique world that he created. And you do that with production design, with costume, with music, with hair and makeup. That was really cool. The foreign language film, Ida, that won.
Yeah, and these are more films that are very difficult to find. We'll get into that more in the documentaries. It's difficult to find and actually watch these. But that was definitely the front runner. Everyone was saying that one would win. A little disappointed in the live-action short film. I really wanted Butterlamp or Boogaloo and Graham to win.
Of course.
The Phone Call won. Best documentary short subject, as we talked about, was Crisis Hotline. Now, let's talk about Best Animated Short Film, because you actually got to see all of these.
Yeah, they were playing these when I was in Vegas, so I went to Best Animated Short, and it was so funny. I was talking, Gary Brightwell was like, it was so funny. He goes, Graham, it's just, how is this a category? It's just a cartoon. I go, no. I go, wait a minute. I go, these movies are really, a lot of them are very well made. There's this depth to them.
Yes.
And I was referring to The Dam Keeper, I thought should have won. And it's okay. If you can see these, they're good. I mean, Feast is a good movie, but The Dam Keeper,
still, it's a cutesy, basically it's a movie about a cutesy dog.
It's a cutesy dog. And then when that won, Gary tweeted or texted me and I was like, you're right. The cute dog eating food. And it's just like, that to me was a little...
It's got the Pixar machine behind it. I mean, actually, this is a good question for you fans. When's the last time a Pixar short didn't win? Or Pixar or Disney short did not win? You probably have to go back a few years.
I gotta tell you, because A Single Life is a really good, powerful movie. Mia Moltron is good, but The Dam Keeper to me was like...
And what was it about?
It's kind of hard to explain, but it's a world where everybody is an animal.
Okay.
But it's in a town, and there's this young, I guess he's a young pig, and he takes care of the dam to make it not overflow into this city that's beneath it. And then he's a young kid, and then he takes the tram or whatever into school, and he's in class, and everybody makes fun of him. Oh, little piggy, and they're alligators and wolves and whatever.
Right.
And he befriends. There's a new girl in school who's a young fox, and they have this amazing relationship, and then he gets mad and all this stuff, and it's really touching, it's really heartfelt, it's really unique animation, and as is the bigger picture. That's the other thing. They all have very unique styles of animation, and Feast looks good, but it's just kind of...
It's what Pixar does.
It's what Pixar does, and we've seen it. And so... And the big-eyed cutesy dog and the cutesy kids, it's just so, it's such it's not a bad movie. It's just
Right.
such button pushy.
Right, sure.
That it sort of justified Brightwell's point of they're just cartoons.
Yeah, this is the first time Pixar proved him right.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm like, before the show, I was like, come on, I'm laughing. I'm like, Gary, they're not like Hanna-Barbera films,
Right.
like these movies have some depth. And of course, the one that didn't have one. But if you can see the best animated shorts, I would see them. Although I go to the box office and I'm like, I want to buy tickets. And they're like, okay, the girl goes, I should warn you, it's $25. I go, $25 to see short films? She goes, I know.
Why?
I go, how much are the live action shorts? She goes, those are 10. I go, why? She goes, that's the price. I guess that's the price that the distributor set. I don't know if that was where I saw it, the AMC in Vegas, but I was like, no. And I bought an $8 ticket to Hot Tub Time Machine, because I was like, I'm not paying $25.
That makes no sense.
Why would you price something out? Don't you want
that? Very few people are going to seek out and see anyway.
Very few are going to seek out and see, and then that price point's going to make people not see it.
Right.
It was it made me so mad.
That's genius.
It was genius. So I gave my money to Hot Tub Time Machine,
Nice.
which was fucking dumb. I didn't want to do that. But I was like, I'm not spending $25.
You know what? It won't affect anything.
Won't affect anything. Just the matters the where I put my money.
Yeah, I understand.
Best animated feature. I'm glad Big Hero 6 won. We talked about it. That was a fun movie.
We did. I did not want to see How to Train Your Dragon 2. I know we split on that movie. Now, the other two movies, Song of the Sea and The Tale of Princess Kaguya, I actually really wanted to see these films, but again, difficult to find, even on demand. So,
Box Trolls.
Box Trolls, yeah, that one was actually good, but if out of the ones I've seen, Big Hero 6 definitely deserved to win, but I do want to see the other two.
Yeah.
Production design, Great at Budapest Hotel, absolutely deserved to win. These all had good production designs, but ultimately, Into the Woods is still fantasy. Imitation Game is period. Interstellar, that would be the only one I would say, and of course Mr. Turner is period, but Interstellar because you have a world creative of a possible future.
Right.
So you actually have very specific production design. So I would say out of those two, those were probably the front runners.
Yeah, had Interstellar won for production design, I would have been okay with it for those reasons, because they were creating something,
a hard science fiction future.
A hard science fiction future, and the spacesuits and all that stuff. I thought it was really interesting. Cinematography, you had to give it to Birdman because of the one continuous shot, right? Like, didn't you just, wasn't it like...
what's interesting too, if you take that out and any, fantasy sequences, I wonder if it would have won.
Well, to me, I don't know that it's necessarily, why I would give it is not necessarily the fantasy sequence. It was the fact that it was like one continuous shot.
Right.
And that
like
is...
rope.
Yeah, it's really hard to do.
Easy.
So that to me was what was really impressive about that.
Okay, and that's probably what put it over the top.
Yeah. Roger Deakins is amazing. He's an amazing DP, and he did good stuff.
It's always more of a surprise when he loses than when he wins.
Yeah. Editing, this is one of those categories that doesn't get much traction or doesn't get a lot of play or press or whatever you want to call it, but it is so crucial. And I would put American Sniper in the second. Had American Sniper won, I would have been okay with it. Not that Boyhood, Budapest, or Imitation Game didn't deserve it, but the cutting back and forth in American Sniper was pretty amazing, and it also helped tell the story.
Right.
Which is exactly what Whiplash did. Like the cutting back and forth and the cuts between the close-ups on the instruments in his hands and the extreme close-ups of like J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller, like those were done with such skill. And it really brought, for me watching it, when I was watching Whiplash, the editing helped me feel like I was right in that chair, as you said, really uncomfortable watching this relationship.
And it was, and that was the effect that the filmmakers wanted you to feel. They wanted you to be really uncomfortable with what you're watching. I actually wanted to see Boyhood win this one just because stringing together 10 years worth of footage I thought it's never been done before, and it's the way the transitions were, where they were subtle and they weren't ham-handed like cards or anything like that. Like you actually had to get the information from what you're watching when there was a time transition. So, but again, there's not one of these that were like, oh, I can't believe that one got nominated for editing.
Yeah,
they're all good.
Documentary feature Citizen4. No, this is more okay. So Citizen4 wins, right? Now, these are all, you've got Last Days in Vietnam, you've got Virunga, which is on Netflix, which
I did see that one.
You saw that one. Salt of the Earth, Finding Vivian Maier. Again, I say this every year, and I will always say it. I think it's great that the Academy brings these 5 documentaries, and even the short subject document, and short films. They're bringing these movies that we would never, most people would never.
And it would be great to be able to see them before the awards. They still haven't figured that out yet. Like, the only reason I got to see Virunga is because Netflix helped produce it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it was streaming.
I know, which is why it just makes perfect sense, because the Oscars are watched by so many people. I don't know if it's just like they're snobs and think, oh, the middle America won't want to watch this. Yeah, they will.
Absolutely.
Everyone's watching this. Everyone's having Oscar pools.
Yeah, it's like when people collect things. It's like you want to be like kind of like a completist. It's like, all right, well, I want to see everything before I actually make my Oscar pools and do everything. And it's so hard to see everything. Like, you're lucky if you get to see, 1 or 2 of the documentaries.
Right.
You're lucky if you get to see any of the shorts. Usually it's because it's in front of, Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
That's the reason you got to see the short.
Like, why is,
So I hope we're still,
like Jupiter
we're going
Ascending,
in that direction.
why, get that, open up some of the screens from that and put in some of these, like, you could just do, and this is what they did at this theater in Vegas, which was smart. They put the shorts in one screen.
Right.
So, like, 12:30 was animated, 2:15 was live action, 4:30. They
rotated. So you could watch both if you want.
And you could do that with these feature docs.
Just one of them was over double the price.
Yeah, for a ridiculous reason. When Citizen4 wins, it's about Edward Snowden. That's
yes.
That's pretty amazing. And then Neil Patrick Harris goes, Edward Snowden couldn't be here, which starts to get a joke for some reason. Reason. And it's just like, you're saying, so you think he, like.
You know what he did? He went for a lot of the obvious jokes that I doubt he believes that. And it's, I really think too, it was.
Like saying saying Edward Snowden couldn't be here for some reason. That's a fine, quick little.
And you know what?
Line.
It is, and it's a great setup, like you were saying, for a joke, and you could end it there. That's absolutely fine. And then you could tag it with like you could make like either any type of joke after that. You could do a Roman Polanski joke after that.
Sure,
he could go a lot of different directions.
He's hanging out with Roman Polanski or something like that. But instead he says he couldn't be here for some treason. So you're saying Edward Snowden committed treason? Are you
after that great speech that the winners said?
Exactly. That's the thing he's talking about. He's talking about now whether if you don't agree with what Edward Snowden did, okay. That's fine, but you're the host of this show, and the person just gave a really compelling speech about our personal freedoms and fighting the government and all this other stuff, so that you're going to come on and say he committed treason in this room full of millionaire liberals? Okay. Way to go, dumbass. The whole crowd is on board with the speech that just happened.
And all of the, like I was calling them like issue sneaks.
Yeah.
Like, Patricia Arquette did a great issue sneak.
Yes.
Like towards the end, like she went through a regular speech really quick and then adds it at the end.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I like seeing that because it's Hollywood using its platform to do good.
Right.
And that's actually something I enjoy seeing. So I was on board with all of it.
I like that too. I will say there was our fan Jason Christian called me out a little bit because I retweeted, when Patricia Arquette gave that speech, I retweeted this female comic, I forget her name, posted like, oh, it's so great. She goes, what is she what wage inequality is she talking about as a room full of millionaires or whatever, which I think is funny. And I think and I retweeted that, and then he goes, well, Jason said, actually, she's talking, she's fighting for the woman who's making $8.50 an hour at Walmart that should be making, and I said, and I wrote back, good point. That's a great point. And it is, and it is right. When celebrities do use this thing, and honestly, I'd rather see Patricia Arquette do something like that than when you see like, who's that one girl at the Golden Globes who then complained, well, all those other years I lost and finally I won or whatever. And we were like, didn't you listen to George Clooney's speech about if you're in this room, you've already won?
Yeah.
So I think,
by far.
Yeah, by far. And so it is cool that they're doing that, that Patricia Arquette made that point. And then when they make that point, like, I was always waiting for Neil Patrick Harris to then say some dumb joke making fun of women, like, to just get everybody to fucking hate him. Like.
But then it would have been a clean sweep.
God damn it. It was so. And then, all right. Original song. Okay, so that went to Glory with.
Now, this is one of the interesting categories that because they actually play the songs, everyone gets to hear them.
Right.
Like, so I'm not surprised at all. Glory won. It's a great song, and
again,
I'm Not Gonna Miss You is definitely very very moving as well. But I thought that deserved to win.
Yeah, and again, I'm Not Gonna Miss You was the story behind it. There's Glenn Campbell who. There was, especially after seeing Still Alice, like he knows he's losing his memory and goes, okay, I'm going to write this song. And his wife and daughter are in the audience, which is a really touching moment. But it was cool. But then I loved it again. Common gave a great speech again.
Yes, another great one. Him and John Legend. I tweeted that, let Common host the Oscars next year.
Yeah. Well, he's making these great points. He's like, the bridge represents, the kid in the south side of Chicago and the French person. And I think that's really good.
What people don't know, too, with Common, he's funny.
Yeah.
He's funny, too.
Well, if he had good writers, so he could really pull it off. But yeah, that was cool. It was another good speech. And then, of course, Grand Budapest wins again for
original score.
Mm-hmm. And then original screenplay.
This I was a little surprised at, with Birdman winning original screenplay. I really thought Budapest would get it, or Boyhood.
I'm confused as to why Foxcatcher is in this category, because,
I'm more confused about Nightcrawler.
Yeah, because it's based on a true story. I know it's not adapted from a book, from what I understand, but it's sort of a slightly confusing category. I would have gone Boyhood on this as well, or Grand Budapest, really. But Birdman, again, I like Birdman. Like I said, I was a little, misled maybe, or just
by the trailers,
or just had some different expectations, I guess, because of the trailers. But it's still a good film, and it has. It is cool. It is inventive. It is sort of experimental.
Well, it did very well at the Oscars.
Yeah, it did very well at the Oscars.
It won every big award.
Yeah.
It swept.
And then adapted screenplay.
I'm not surprised Imitation Game won. Inherent Vice, again, very surprised that is there.
Right.
Theory of Everything or American Sniper. I expected... I don't know. It was an interesting category. It was like... Aside
from Inherent Vice, they're all like...
Yeah, they were solid adaptations.
But, and I think that guy Graham Moore gave a good speech, talking about, if you're a freak, or however he put it, if you're strange or weird,
he tried to kill himself.
He tried to kill himself. And I was just like...
Now he's standing there.
Yeah. And the story of Alan Turing is it's... Holy shit, that he was the greatest mind of a generation.
It's fascinating and tragic.
And so tragic that he was then just treated like some sort of, criminal.
And he saved literally millions of lives.
Saved millions of lives to help the Allies win the war against Hitler. Had we not won that war, we would not be here right now. And so... that was a really cool speech, and I was almost waiting for Neil Patrick Harris to then make some stupid joke.
Achievement in directing, I really thought Boyhood was going to get this, but this is where Birdman really started to sweep all the bigger categories.
This was Birdman, man. I did not think it was going to do that. I thought this is where Linklater was going to.
Yeah.
Because it's the 13-year thing.
Right.
And all that stuff. And everybody else, like, Foxcatcher's a good film, but I don't think it had enough. It didn't have enough, like, groundswell behind it in terms of just award show hype.
And it was also, here's the interesting thing, it was also a smaller movie.
It was, yeah.
When you look at, directing in some of these other movies, you've got Grand Budapest was basically a rather large movie.
Sure.
You see it. A little more epic in scope. Imitation Games, period. Boyhood, obviously, that scope was huge. Foxcatcher was just on a much smaller scale. And then, Birdman, you've got, it follows the cinematography.
Right. And it's also like, it's all the one shot and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I will say this, because I really like Foxcatcher. And I think this happens every year a little bit, is the directing that Bennett Miller did was really, for at least watching the final product, is very subtle in terms of how he directed these actors. And I don't think that subtle directing of actors doesn't always get the fanfare. Not to take anything away from any of these other movies, but like, that's not easy to subtly direct these people, especially somebody like Steve Carell, who is playing somebody so different than who he's ever played.
Well, I think
it's a testament to how good Steve Carell is, but it's also that's a director helping with, you know what I mean?
I think that was also one of the problems why it didn't win, is because so much time was spent on getting these amazing performances from these actors. Some of the other stuff got neglected a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So
that's a fair point.
I think overall directing, when you take in everything from story progression to actors to how the movie actually looks, I think it's big picture. You know what? I think we should do our ad.
Whoa!
After Birdman, we've got an ad. We got Harry's Razors.
Oh, I just shaved.
You love Harry's Razors.
I shaved one the other day. I've shaved it in Vegas, and
you brought them with you.
I travel with Harry's Razors now. I love these razors. They are the best razors your man face can get for the price. They, it's funny. Like there's like.
And they're cheap.
They're cheap. They come in less than $2 a blade. They're so good.
Yeah, why pay $32 for an 8-pack?
Yeah. I mean, I've said this before. I would even go to like Costco to buy my old blades to get a quote unquote deal, and it was still like $50 for 10 or 20 blades.
But how are these blades, even though they're cheaper?
They're better blades, and I'm not saying that. Like, here's the thing. They obviously gave us free blades when we did our first ad campaign with them a while ago. Mm-hmm. I still buy them now.
Right.
These are my blades.
Yeah.
like I'm in. If they don't do ad reads with us anymore,
you're still a customer.
I'm still going to be a customer. So
the other thing I like about them is they have a bit of a social mission too. They give 1% of the sales and at least 1% of their time to organizations that prepare people for personal and professional success. So they give back a little bit too, which I like. And it's always the smaller startup companies that do that. I know some of the big corporations, they do that too, but, these smaller companies are making less money. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they're specifically taking that time and money to do that, I think that means a lot.
And it's like one of those things you don't think about, but let's say you have been down on your luck for whatever reason.
You're going to need a shave.
Honestly, you got to shave, and maybe you never, you bounced around. I don't know, like you were living on the street or whatever. That stuff, you can't take that stuff for granted. So the fact that these guys help out a little bit with that, I think is a good thing. So guys, go to harrys.com.
It's HARRYS.com.
Yeah.
All right.
And right on. Do we have a coupon code?
I'm not sure if we have a coupon code or not. We're waiting for the email. If there is a coupon code for $5 off, use it by process of elimination. It's CFN, Comedy Film Nerds, Comedy Film, or Film Nerds. It's probably one of those.
It's one of those to get $5 off.
Yeah.
This ad just popped up. We didn't get the coupon code. But I do know if you go to harrys.com, that's where you can buy them. And one of those coupon codes will work to save $5.
Yeah.
And you'll have
and they're already cheap. That's what's so great.
Yeah. And you'll have and you can get you can buy. They have got the gel.
They have a foaming shave gel.
They have foaming shave gel. They also have a cream. They have I prefer the gel.
It's not just about the blades, Graham.
No, doctor. It's about keeping that whole. It's keeping your moneymaker looking solid. That's what Harry's.com is all about, guys.
You got to polish that man face.
You got to polish that man face. Get out there with a nice polished man face and shake that can and make some cash. All right? That's how I keep the bills paid, is I get out there and polish up the man face. That's their new slogan. Polish up the man face.
So, performance by an actor in a leading role.
Okay, I had to go on stage, so I missed these last three winners.
I am not surprised at all.
Bradley Cooper wins it.
No, Eddie Redmayne won, in Theory of Everything.
Oh, no, I did see that. See that. Mm-hmm. Bradley Cooper is weirdly highlighted on this thing you gave me. So you had Steve Carell, Bradley Cooper, Benny Cumbo, Mikey Keats, and Eddie Redmayne. This was a solid category.
It was, definitely. And when you look at just the performances alone, they were all solid. There's none here where you went, I don't know how they got in.
How they get in there.
Yeah.
But Eddie Redmayne, I mean, you kind of had the feeling, because the Golden Globes, Michael Keaton won and Redmayne won because they were in different. They have multiple categories in the Golden Globes.
I think the takeaway here is that we need to stop hiring British people.
They beat us.
Far too many British people won awards.
I got to say, I mean, of these five, Eddie Redmayne, I thought they're all solid. They all did great performances. But Eddie Redmayne, as we said, becoming a guy with ALS who also happens to have the greatest brain in the last 100 years.
Yes,
was pretty amazing feat. Obviously, I would have liked to have seen David Oyelowo from Selma in there as well, but these are the guys they picked. So Eddie Redmayne, any one of the five of these, I think I would have been happy with their win.
Right, I agree.
That's a loud jet flying.
That is what's landing. It's the Google helicopter.
That's the Google helicopter. They're jet-powered helicopters now. So, all right, and then
performance by an actress in a leading role. This is, again, a strong category. However, Julianne Moore, I would have been surprised if she did not win. And I really think it helped her that the rest of the movie was so mediocre that her performance stood out even more so.
Yeah.
Like, she brought her A game and everyone else kind of brought their B game. So I thought she did an amazing job. Now, I will say I really liked Wild, too. And I thought Reese Witherspoon did an amazing job as well. Rosamund Pike, they all did good jobs, but I think Julianne Moore definitely deserved it.
Out of these five that were nominated, I would agree. I think she did the strongest performance. And again, they all did. Like, Felicity Jones is really good in The Theory of Everything. And as is Rosamund Pike. And I will say, and I said this when Wild came out, I hope Reese Witherspoon keeps making films like this.
Well, it's the lesson of the stealth producer.
Right.
Of the actors that take control of their own material. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing better you can do as an actor or an actress. Jodie Foster does it. You're becoming a stealth producer. If you're going to get stuff handed to you by studios and you don't like them, guess what?
Go make your own shit.
Go make your own, yeah.
That's all we do every day.
Yeah.
The difference is no one's handing us anything at all. We have no choice.
Option the book on your own, and put the package together.
Well, if you look at what she's doing, her company was also involved in producing Gone Girl.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, she's just out there doing really compelling projects.
There's plenty of Tom Hanks movies, like Playtone, that he's produced that he's not in.
He's not in at all. And I love when A-list actors really do this, because it just gets so, Johnny Depp, hey, brother, you could do this.
If anyone could do that.
You could do this, dude.
Yeah.
Seriously.
He needs to follow that lead.
Enough making Mordecai just so you can hang out on your yacht or whatever. Make some shit that people want to see.
Well, maybe that was the deal. It's like, we'll shoot the whole movie on your yacht.
On your yacht.
So you don't have to leave.
Okay, can I have a fake mustache? Perfect. Well, we haven't really talked about Best Supporting Actress. I know we talked about Patricia Arquette's speech, but The other nominees in that category were Laura Dern in Wild, Keira Knightley in Imitation Game, Emma Stone in Birdman, and Meryl Streep in Into the Woods. One of the solid jokes of the show was he lists off Patricia Arquette, Laura Dern, Keira Knightley, Emma Stone, and as mandated by the state of California, Meryl Streep.
Yeah,
funny joke.
Yeah, because ultimately she's playing a witch. I mean, there's nothing in that performance that's Academy Award.
We all know Meryl Streep's great.
Yeah. But you don't have to nominate her every year.
Like, there's so many other women that could have gotten this nomination,
and they should have. They definitely should have. So now I will say, Laura Dern in Wild did an amazing job. However, it's also, you look at like as a supporting actress, she wasn't in it as much.
Right.
Like when you have like Patricia Arquette was lit in that entire
I think she
film.
suffered from a little Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
In terms of she just wasn't in it enough to overtake you with Patricia Arquette is in most of the movie.
Exactly.
So that was good. Keira Knightley, man, she did a great job.
Solid job. Yeah.
Solid job, and what her character had to go through, as a woman and having this strict family and all the like sort of secret navigating they had to do.
Yeah.
And the clip that they used in the show was great. She's like, she goes, "This is the most important thing I'm ever going to do in my life. I don't give a shit about anything else. I have to do this." And even when she doesn't, before she knows he's gay, and she's like, we'll just make this work.
Yeah.
I don't care that you're weird. I don't care. I don't care. We don't even, and then even when he finally comes out to her, she's like, I don't care. We're going to do
because we connect on an intellectual level.
Yeah. And when you're that smart,
he should have taken her up on her offer.
Yeah. Emma Stone does a good job in Birdman, but she's not like Emma Stone. Here's a good example. I think Emma Stone and Laura Dern are both in the movie about the same.
Right.
But Laura Dern really stands out as like, wow, there's some great scenes.
Every line she took very seriously, and sort of this flawed single mom who's trying her best. Yeah.
But keeps getting shacked up with the wrong guy and all that stuff. So that was really compelling. Emma Stone does a good job, but it's just sort of like, I think this was just sort of, well, Birdman's so great, so we should just give someone from Birdman a nomination. You know what I mean? Where it's like, this was one of those years where I really wish the Academy members, and I say this to the younger members, like obviously the not sending out screeners like Interstellar and Selma. We talked about that. They made a mistake. That's a marketing mistake. Whoever was in charge of that decision, you screwed up.
Right.
Well, we know it was Christopher Nolan for Interstellar, but I don't know who dropped the ball with Selma. But it's their fault up to a certain point,
right?
Because especially the younger Academy members, who know this, we're living in this digital world where movies are all over the place, and when and how can you see them? Yeah, filmmakers, okay, get out there and hustle and market, but I think it is up to the young Academy members to go search for some stuff and not just keep giving the same people, and Doug brought it up when he was on the Oscar preview show, like the complaints that it was a mostly white show, that Selma didn't get enough, those are very valid complaints. But there's also a bunch of other movies, any number of films, any number of people, male, female, whatever ethnicity, that did great performances that got
Fault in Our Stars.
Oh my God, that movie, her and the guy should have been both nominated. Right then, like boom. So
even Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean, you've got these 10 best pictures, throw them a little bone. I mean, because I was thinking about it, I'm like, well, it's a popcorn movie, it'll never get nominated, but no. Lord of the Rings, they won one. There was I think Return of the Jedi has won Oscars. So there is definitely a precedent for, science fiction popcorn movies to actually win awards.
Fuck the up to 10. Just make it 10. Just if the whole point of
what happened? That was backlash from the first year that it was 10. And what happened is, but it went in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Now they're like too scared to get to 10. Like when the first 10 came out, I was like, I don't know if they all need to be on there. But so there's like, well, it'll be up to 10. But then it feels like the now we're scared to put more than 7 or 8. No, you can add a few more if they deserve it.
I think just say 10. You can find 10 really good movies. Pull your heads out of your asses and go look and find some movies.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, wouldn't it be great if if Fault in Our Stars was on the list? Oh wow, it came out in the spring. Like,
right.
Why are we? If you really want the Oscars to be about helping to sell movies and get people in love with movies, then don't just show them the same 6 people, Meryl Streep, and the same a handful of films. Don't just show them that. Go find some stuff,
Absolutely, and ultimately, like you said, it's up to the Academy members. I mean, they're the ones that should be doing it. Now, like you said, you can only blame the studios up to a point, like for them sending out screeners and stuff. You, as a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, it's your job to find.
And if your whole point is like, let's get people back in the theaters.
Right.
Go tell them what to go see.
Right.
Go find some cool films.
I completely agree.
And give these smaller movies some distribution. Don't put fucking Jupiter Ascending on 4 screens in a multiplex. Like, get it the fuck out of there. And
or there were people only in one.
And hey, Academy, this is your industry.
Right.
This is your business. So if you use the Oscars that goes out to 1 billion people.
Right. All over the world.
Then get some shit out there.
Yes.
Be smart.
Now, I will say the one fail I will have for ABC that I actually got irritated about this. And this is the Oscars is a live event. It's also kind of a family event. Families kind of watch it together. And it's 6 o'clock in our house. And they are showing promos for like How to Get Away with Murder with bloody bodies all over the place. And I was furious. We had to turn the TV off to get through these ridiculous promos that were being shown in front of my kids like 6 o'clock at night. And it's like, I even tweeted ABC, fail. This is ridiculous. You're putting these violent promos on in it's a live event. It's not like we can fast forward through them. So it's again, I don't know who's running the marketing departments from studios to television networks. It's a mess.
They don't know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing. Like, who are you appealing to?
They're trying to appeal to everybody and no one, and they don't know what they're doing.
You're trying to get all the people watching the show to watch your new dumb, violent shows that no one wants to see.
There's so many things that they don't. It's so clearly they're stuck in like old business model land. And trying to, it was like the Anne Hathaway James Franco experiment.
Right.
We got to get the kids involved, so we're going to hire 2 people that aren't comedians.
Yeah, and then I'm sure the takeaway was there. See, we tried to go young, it didn't work.
We got Seth MacFarlane, he's too dirty.
Yeah.
So you're going to have Neil Patrick Harris take his shirt off? Like, I don't understand.
I think it was more of a like, let's get a Tony, guy, a stage performer to actually do it. But you. All you have to do is have great performers and great writers. I mean, it sounds like it's easy, but apparently it isn't. Like
Alec Baldwin, Steve Martin,
amazing job.
Jon Stewart, when he's done it, he's done a good job. I even like Chris Rock has done it.
I still people complain about the Letterman year. I love the Letterman year.
I love the Letterman year because they're such sensitive.
Yeah.
Like. I don't. They
can't get it right.
They can't,
really
and
can't
they keep making the same mistakes.
So it's frustrating. I will say, though, that a lot of these awards, it was good to see that a lot of deserving films and actors and actresses and writers and directors did win.
Right.
Like, there was no winner that got you angry. Like, I can't believe they beat theirs.
I'll give them credit for that.
Yeah,
I'll give them credit for that. I mean, I don't know that I would have given Best Picture to Birdman.
Sure.
I would have given it to either American Sniper or Selma or
Boyhood.
Those are the 3 I would have given it to before I would have given it to Birdman. But
it's subjective.
It's subjective. And he gave a good speech.
Yes, definitely.
All right, guys. Well, that's this year's.
That is our show.
That's our Oscar show. We love doing the live tweeting is so much fun.
That was really fun, yeah. And you guys were really engaged too. It was really fun to see.
It's fun on a lot of levels. Just to write the jokes, and then to read the feed and hear the other things. And, I was like laughing out loud at a lot of shit. So that's always cool. Thank you guys so much for playing along with this every year, and yeah,
it's really fun.
Maybe earbuds will be there next year.
Yep, you never know.
We got to finish it first.
Yeah, that's all we have to do to qualify. It has to actually be done this year.
We have to get it done this year. So always fun, you guys. Thank you so much for all your tweets and comments. And
also I wanted to mention this. We were having some issues with the store. They are all fixed now. So if you were trying to buy something and it rejected you, or you got like an admin error, it is done. It is fixed. You can buy anything you like there. In fact, we encourage it. Remember, Hello Junkie and Hit Clown shirts are still on sale.
Yep.
And also the message boards, registering for those are open now too. So you could, but we're doing a lot of work on the website.
Yep.
So getting the experience better for you guys.
So tomorrow, February 24th, I will be headlining the Throckmorton Theater in Mill Valley, California. And then the rest of the end of the month and then into March, I'm doing a bunch of domestic military bases. And somebody put on my Facebook page, I can't wait for Graham to come to my base at like Grand Forks or Minot, North Dakota or some shit like that. So
are you going to that base?
Yeah, I'm going to Minot. I'm going to Grand Forks. I'm going to Montana.
Are they all domestic?
Yep. All domestic. Oklahoma, Texas, all that stuff. So, that's our show, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. You got any dates coming up? So
actually I have one I'm going to talk to you guys about on March 28th. It's a Saturday. I'll be part of the podcast San Diego event. I'll be doing a talk on podcasting and connecting with your audience.
Oh, cool.
So that'll be happening March 28th. I'm looking forward to that.
Right on. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching the Oscars. My name's Graham Elwood.
And I'm Chris Mancini. As always, remember,
Han shot first.
Birdman.